Welcome to Mecum's Gone Farmin' Vintage Tractor Auction, featuring the only classic tractor auction of its kind in the country. Today, some of the hardest to find tractors in the world will hit the auction block. So sit back and relax and enjoy Mecum's Gone Farmin' Vintage Tractor Auction.
Hello everyone and welcome. I'm Mike Holland along with Max Wilson, and you've joined us for Mecum's Gone Farmin' Nashville. Max, we have some fantastic tractors coming in today's show.
Yeah, we've got a little bit of something for everyone, different colors of the rainbows.
And not just tractors, we've also got some vintage signs. And these tractors, I tell you, I know that Dan has been working on these for quite some time, but these tractors, some have never seen the auction block before, and they are really going to make a big splash this time.
Yeah, we've got some rusty ones and some real nice, perfectly restored ones. So.
Well, don't go anywhere. We've got plenty of auction to come. We'll be back right after this. And as we start to see the tractors roll in here, we would certainly want to welcome everyone tuning in on RFD-TV today. Remember, you can always watch the Mecum Gone Farmin' auctions every Tuesday at 5:30 Eastern, every Saturday at 10:30 Eastern on RFD-TV. You can always go to RFD-TV.com to find out where you can get the channel in your area. Looks like we're about ready to get going here, Max.
Yep. All right, and up first, we've got lot S1. It was a 1968 Ford 3000. Does come with the bush hog on the back, so you could take her right home and put it to work. Of course, you look at this, it still looks a lot like the old Ford 8Ns. They still kept that low, squatty style, very popular with property owners and that for running a bush hog or a finishing mower on the back if you had a big estate to keep that grass trimmed up, your pastures clipped. And of course, right out of the gate, we're at 2,400, now up to 3. So looks like a pretty nice, straight, honest tractor. Bush hog's been used a little bit. Well, I hate to use the term bush hog, but that's kind of a generic term anymore. It was a brand name. This is actually a king cutter. Looks like it's probably about a 6 or 7 foot. Not a bad price for a tractor like this with the equipment with it to go out and trim your property up and just keep your property maintained real nice. So. And this is a no reserve auction, which means the guy's going to let it go. Whatever it brings, it's going to a new home. So we'll try and keep up and kind of explain that to people as that pops up, the no reserve auction, or if the bid goes on. And that one's going to roll out the door at 3,200. And that's going to bring in another Ford, lot S2, which is a Ford 801. Of course, this one here, kind of the last generation of the red bellies. I believe they had one more generation, the 61 series, the 861, 961. This is another no reserve auction.
And you can start to see the crowd has certainly got a lot more active here in the last few minutes as the first two tractors make their way in the door.
Yeah, and this Ford 801 here, selling no reserve, has selective speed, good paint. I mean, it's definitely a farm shop restoration. The paint's a little bit faded on it, but once again, another good, honest tractor to take home and use for keeping your property up, or take it home, restore it, and bring it back and sell it with us at the next auction. So.
Ford certainly seems to stand alone by itself. It's with these designs, usually within the front hood areas where you can really see that they stand apart.
Yeah, and this one here also has that front bumper on it, which can also be used for a hitch for pushing wagons and pulling them in and out of the barn. And that one's going to sell at $1,600. And of course, 1939, a lot of the John Deere tractors were starting to get their styling and enclosing the radiators. The John Deere G wasn't the biggest seller for John Deere, so they figured they'd just leave it in that unstyled state for a while. So that's why this one's still got the open radiator and a simple hood on it. Of course, John Deere G, that was the big row crop tractor for John Deere at the time, about 500 cubic inch out of 2 cylinders. This one here also has the cast rear wheels with what they call split rims. The bead pops off in order to remove the tire from the rim. A lot of people call them widowmakers because you get airing them up. If that's not seated properly, that'll pop off and the tire will blow out. So it kind of makes it a little bit dangerous, but pretty unique to see one with the original style rims on it.
For a lot of these tractors that come through, not every single one of them look brand new or completely restored. This also offers an opportunity for people to maybe take the parts or even restore the tractors. That's
right.
One of the.
Yeah, a lot of them are like what I call beginner tractors or starter tractors. Of course, this one here, $3,600. You go through and restore that, that's going to bring a lot more money, and that one's going to sell at $3,600.
Well, Max, as you know, we have buyers and sellers coming in from all parts of the country, and Kevin's actually wrangled a few right now up on the concourse. Let's go to him and see what he's got for us. Kevin?
All right, we're here with Bill White. Bill, what are we doing here today?
I'm just mostly looking at the antique tractors I collect a little bit of.
So how many do you have currently in your collection?
I just got one a 51G wide front end. I've had 6 or 8 in the past.
What do you think about the tractors, the quality of the tractors that you're seeing here?
Most of them are really good. I like it.
So you think you're going to go home with anything today?
Probably not. I don't know. At this point, I'm not sure.
Well, we've got quite a bit of time left, and maybe Bill will go home with one today. We'll see.
And that's going to bring in Lot S3. It was a 1953 Farmall Super H. This would be what a lot of people call the Stage 1 Farmall Super H, because the battery's still up underneath the tank, and then right below the front grille, it doesn't have that notched frame for where the cultivator would mount for the newer style that they came out with. The Stage 2, of course, had the battery under the seat. They didn't really do any differences as far as engine. They just changed up some stuff for mounting different equipment on them. No fenders on this one, but $2,500. This tractor here, they're real popular with the people doing the tractor rides. They got a faster transmission speed, so they kind of keep up and roll out pretty nice. So.
And we're getting some good movement already, hitting the $2,700 mark. And as you can hear, the auctioneer also calling out internet bids as well. There's competition not only here in the arena, but on the internet as well, by the phone, where you can also place a bid for any of these tractors.
And that one's going to sell at $2,600. As that one rolls out, we're going to bring in Lot S4 is a 1935 John Deere B. Pretty nice restoration on this tractor, round spokes on the rear at least. I didn't quite catch if they were factory rounds on the front or cutoffs, but this is also being the first year production. It's an earlier one because it's got the 4-bolt front pedestal. If you look right on the front, right above the front wheels, there's only 4 bolts holding that pedestal. They did find out after about a year of production that they needed to put some more bolts in there because it was a weak spot in the tractor, so they came out and then they were 8-bolt front end. So the 5-bolt Bs or 4-bolt Bs are pretty popular as far as the collectors go because they're only made 1 year. So kind of reflects that with about $6,000 bid on this tractor. So
I knew there was a lot of interest in this tractor before the auction, reflected now in the price because it's certainly bringing in as it's just about to reach the $7,000 mark. And they just took the reserve off of this one.
And that one also does not have the hydraulic, the power unit on the back for raising, lowering the cultivator, so that's what a lot of us would call a flat back. So.
original condition, a 3-point hitch, and nice sheet metal on the tractor.
Ladies and gentlemen, is this a no reserve tractor?
It is a no reserve.
It is a no reserve tractor. This is a barn find. Just wait to take her out of the barn. Get it on 3-point hitch coming out now. Get the top link on the back. She's all there.
Of course, the auctioneer just announcing no reserve on this tractor.
Yeah, and this tractor here, nice original condition, has the correct 3-point with a third link. Looks to be original. Looks like tires have been changed at one point, but you look at this, it just got that patina of being a barn find. Nice. That yellow always faded to almost like a brown rust color, that rust coming through on the cast iron. Just a nice little tractor, 2100. Seemed to run real nice when it was coming in here, so. And of course that 35 B that just rolled out of here, this is what the Bs eventually became. They turned into the Model 50s in about 1953, 54. So. And we're still working on this at 2750. Pretty good price on this tractor right now. It's rolling along. And of course, these original tractors speak volumes as far as decal placement and everything else for the guys that are restoring. Make sure they get them decals in the correct spots. So.
Well, Max, as that tractor rolls out, we're going to take a quick break, but make sure you don't go anywhere. There's going to be lots more auction coming up right after this. We certainly want to welcome everyone tuning in to RFD-TV today to Mecum's Gone Farmin Nashville. We've got some of the best tractors to hit the auction block, and as we have our next tractor coming on through.
Yeah, and that's going to be Lot S6, a Farmall Cub, which these are just neat little tractors. A lot of people like using them, put a wood belly mower on them for mowing lawns at their places, and always been a joke, and I know I've said this before on other episodes, but it's always a joke with our tractor club of who has owned a Cub in our club. And actually, you get the whole club together, and a show of hands, it's about 75% of the people in the club at some point have owned a Farmall Cub. So.
This is the exact style of tractor I remember my grandfather putting me on when I was a boy. So I certainly have a memory of those.
And this one also has a plow, cultivator, and snow blade that is going with it. So you're pretty much getting all the stuff. If you want to do a little vegetable farming or a little truck gardening, you can jump right in. Thing runs good. Pretty nice restoration on it. And some guys just put their own little touch. You notice the wheel bolts, or the nuts on the wheels and that, all have chrome covers on them, and it's just a little added touch.
Now, Max, obviously being an individual preference, what do you think the number one thing a lot of these farm enthusiasts are looking for at some of these auctions?
A lot of them are looking for that tractor that connects them with their childhood, maybe their uncle or their grandpa. They went and worked on the farm, and some of it is the guys that were buying these tractors new and traded them off over the years. Now they're retired and they want to go back to the simpler times and the simpler days. So.
This tractor also has the very unusual front weight on it, which I think everybody's seen that. Look at that front weight, get it out now.
And that's going to bring in Lot S7, 1958 John Deere 420T with a single front wheel. Also has the front weight, which is kind of unusual to find. Fenders on it. It also has the slanted steering wheel, which makes it a phase 2. And the 420s, the early ones at the straight here, almost all of them were painted just green. They didn't have that yellow stripe down the side. And this one here is pretty nice original condition. Got the spin out power adjust rear wheels. 3-point with the correct third link. And the third links are really hard to find on these. You can get them reproduction, but to have an original one, I mean, that just brings a little more to the plate. And as you can see, $4,000. Pretty nice tractor for the price. this also has a 5-speed transmission. There were transmission options that changed on the 420 during the course of their life.
Well, someone's going to come away here with a pretty good price on this tractor if they can clear it out with no reserve. Just reaching a little over $4,000 there. And sells right at the $4,000 mark as it rolls out.
And that's going to bring in lot S8 as a 1954 Super MTA diesel. We got a little bit of humor there from our auctioneer. And, Super MTA diesel, beautiful restoration on this. And of course, Super MTA alone was only made 1 year, and the diesels just make a little bit rarer section of the piece of pie of the MTA tractors that were built. So this thing here, I was looking at this tractor, really admiring it, walking around the last couple days, kind of checking stuff out. The paint work on this got almost new tires on it, if they are not brand new. It's got the big rubber on it, which a lot of people like seeing those big tires on these tractors from this era. So, and of course, $8,500 bid right now. It's I believe this is our first. This is our highest seller today so far, our highest bid tractor right now.
One of the featured tractors that you can see right here on today's show. You can also go to mecumauctions.com if you'd like to see more detail, some of the pictures and the stories behind a lot of these tractors here.
And of course, this tractor, on one side it's got a carburetor, on the other side it's got an injection pump. You actually start these on gasoline, let them run for a little while, and then you switch it over to diesel fuel, and it starts running on the diesel fuel. So they were, I don't want to say that they were problem prone, but there were some issues with the engine, and they were still trying to get their diesel technology where it needed to be. So. Okay, and it looks like the bid's going to go on this Super MTA diesel. And you can have the opportunity to buy that tractor yet by going to our bid goes on table, and maybe we can get the seller and the buyer together. So lot S9 is a 1958 John Deere 430T, all original condition. Looks like fenders have been added. Has 3-point with no third link. Pretty much a straight, honest tractor, and this is how I like finding them, because they're only original once. You got a little bit of room, you can take some liberties with getting stuff cleaned up and running, but it is a nice looking tractor.
Now, Max, this is the type of tractor to me that if it was fully restored would really fall into the category of one of those beautiful looking tractors, especially with the original green on that.
Yeah, these the 30 series tractors are very nice. I mean, and everyone likes them. It was the end of the 2-cylinder era, just before Deere came out with the 4- and 6-cylinder engines. And I think that's kind of, everyone wants one of the last ones that were built by Deere as a 2-cylinder tractor. So, and $4,100, and that's going to sell at $4,100. So.
Max, classic tractors are certainly the word of the day. People from all over come to see the tractors, but one of the things that also attracts them to these auctions is the vintage signs and memorabilia that they can find here, really like nowhere else. Let's take a look at some of the auctions that went up on the block.
This is M49. Now, those of you who are regulars to our automobile and our tractor auctions, you know what this is all about. This is for curing kids' cancer. What we're going to do is we're going to offer the right to donate towards the charity. Now, we've embraced curing kids' cancer here with Mecum Auctions through the last few years. They're a great charity. They're a great cause. We've raised a lot of money for them here in the last few years. And here in the last year, we've probably raised in excess of $300,000 towards the charity due to your donations, and those donations are greatly appreciated. Today, up on the block is it's a guitar signed by Paul McCartney. It comes with a letter, a certificate of authenticity signed by Paul McCartney. Now,
this is kind of a guitar, Max, you might not want to play all the time.
No.
This is, although some people might, this is a bass guitar, but it's not something you'd want to probably grab and get your friends together for a jam, although you might want to do it. Once you pay that kind of money for it, who knows what you'll be able to do with it. Start your own band for.
Well, once you own it, I guess you can do whatever you want with it.
You can do whatever you want with it. I'm real interested to see what this is going to go for, but this is, as we said before, this is really for a good cause. This is going to be...
yeah, and of course tying it in with us being in the Music City right now for this auction with a musical instrument being sold and signed by one of the Beatles. This will be pretty interesting to see what it brings. So.
And as we get revved up in price here, just already hitting the $2,000, $2,500 mark. And $3,000. What a fantastic thing! This thing's really starting to take off pretty quick. A lot of interest in this guitar right off the bat.
Well, and it does have the certificate of authenticity with it, so it's not. It proves that it's not the wool being pulled over anyone's eyes. It was actually in Paul McCartney's hands and signed by him. So.
I believe this is, we'll have to check back, but I believe this is probably going to set a record for the initial, the charity auction portion of the auction. I believe that this price will probably get us set a record so far to date.
Last guitar we brought with a combined effort brought over 11,000. Yep, so this is steel right here. $6,000 bucks. 5,500, 6,000. 5,500, 6,000, 6,000. 6,000, 6,000, 5,500, 6,000, and 5,500, 6,665 grand, 55.
And also keep in mind, a lot of these people out here might not have a lot of them came here to buy signs and tractors, and this might be a little foreign to them, but I can tell you that it's already hit the $6,000 mark, so somebody sure has an appreciation for it, understands what it is.
Well, and the proceeds are going to a good cause.
Absolutely,
too, so.
yeah.
Thank you, sir. Give him a hand, $6,000 shoulder right there, Kathy.
And it brings $6,000 for the Paul McCartney signed bass guitar. That's a fantastic price and a great thing for the charity as well. All right, Max, we're moving right along here. We're going to start up here with this with a John Deere. Tell us a little bit about this sign.
Yeah, this is a John Deere dealership sign, probably from the late 20s, early 30s, double-sided porcelain, beautiful condition, actually unbelievable condition as we get looking at it here. I mean, it's still got some shine to it, but you can tell it's original. And right out of the gate, right at $3,000, so. And of course, with the porcelain paint, these signs are heavy. They stood the test of time, but if they were out in the elements, they would rust and get chipped in them. I mean, porcelain's a fragile paint. And as we're up to 62.50 on this now. So.
Well, as we said before, there really is a significant difference between some of the earlier signs that were up for auction, and although they're still collectible items, they won't bring anything near what these premier featured signs are going to bring. As Max said, this one's here already hitting a little over $7,000.
Yeah, and this is one of and the other thing with the John Deere signs is the size and how the color scheme is. This one here is 72 by 24. So.
Well, and this one just sells for $7,000.
Yeah, next up is an IH Service original double-sided porcelain sign with the original hanger. Not sure how many of these have escaped without being shot up or rusted away on the side of a IH dealership.
A lot of times they'll unfortunately be used for target practice from someone out in rural America that's a little bored. But you're right, it seems to have made its way all the way till now, which is one one of the reasons it's in the featured section.
Yeah, and of course, if you look at that logo, that IH, what that actually looks like is a guy sitting on a red tractor with the axle and the two wheels behind it. And that actually was designed that way to specifically look like that. And it incorporated the International Harvester name.
1,200. Sold at 1,100 Hodges. Sold at 1,100 Hodges.
That one's going to sell at $1,100. So.
Well, Max, this is as good a place as any to stop the action. We're going to take a break real quick and hear from some of our sponsors, but don't you go away because we're going to be back right after this. Welcome back, everyone. I'm host Mike Holland along with Max Wilson, and you've been watching Mecum's Gone Farmin' here in Nashville. Let's get back to the action. And rolling in, we've got the...
Yeah, this is a Lot S10, a Farmall 350 diesel. Beautiful restoration on this tractor again, too. Looks like it's got the original rear tires on it, set of wheel weights, and it has the IH fast hitch on the back of it. So. And of course the fast hitch, 2-point hitch, a lot of people call it on the IHs. That was Farmall or International Harvester's answer to Ford's 3-point hitch that they had. Mounted equipment, a lot of places very popular, not so much in the hills, but if you had good flat land that plow followed nice, it was easy to hook up and unhook. So. And of course this being a diesel, another little bit unusual tractor here. You see them a little bit more. Diesel was starting to really come into the into its own as far as farm tractors about the time this tractor was built, but wasn't quite there. There were a lot of guys still like their old faithful gas tractors. They knew how to work on them. So $4,300 bid right now, and I mean, the paint on this tractor was just flawless. It was nice looking paint. And they're still working on this Farmall 350 diesel and keep climbing up a little bit here, just kind of creeping up.
And it rolls out at $4,600 Kathy's way.
All right, and that's going to bring in S11 as an Alice Chalmers D14 high crop. Some people look at those wheels and kind of go, "Oh, that's someone's homemade deal." No, that was actually how those wheels were put together. And this one here looks like it had a little bit of time sitting out in the sun. It's got a little bit of fade to it, but you don't see many of the D series in a high crop, especially the little D14. So ought to be interested to see how this sells. Of course, this appears to be a Series 1. It has an aftermarket 3-point hitch on it.
This, Max, I don't think is a tractor that is frequenting the auction block here. I don't think a lot of the bidders quite know where to come in on that one.
Well, and we're getting closer down into high crop country where a lot of them were shipped, but we got to go about another state or two south from here. So. That's going to sell for $3,600. Audra's way, it looks like that was a phone or an internet bid on that tractor. So.
Solid mechanically. Tractor does sell at no reserve.
Okay, this is a no reserve auction on lot S12, cock shut 30. Another beautiful restoration, got the wheel weights on it. Guys got the tires all slicked down, got her shined up. So, of course, the cock shuts that was a Canadian tractor. There were a few that made their way down into the U.S. when they were brand new, but we're kind of popular mainly up in the northern states. I think a few of them made them down here in this Nashville area. But
I did notice a small group was gathered around this particular tractor earlier, giving it quite the inspection. Seemed to generate a lot of interest around it.
Giving it the once over twice?
Giving it the twice over once.
New tires on it, new water pump, new wiring, solid mechanically. I mean, just a real nice looking tractor. Kind of a good price on this. If someone wants to buy one that's done, then all they need to do is just keep the dust off it once in a while, keep the oil changed, and tires aired up, go out and have some fun on the weekends. So. And have something that not everyone has. I mean, that's something else too. A lot of people like having those oddballs. So.
And that one rolls out max at $3,500.
Yeah, and that's going to bring in lot S13 as a John Deere 430 standard in original condition. Has 3-point on it. Pretty nice tractor. Got the spin out wheels on it. Tires show a little bit of wear, but I think this one here is going to go pretty good.
And as we make our
and 2750 asking now up to $3,000 on this 430. And the reserve's going to come off of this tractor. One of our ring men there, Paul Wagner, just come over and talked to the owner, and he said, yeah, pull the reserve. We're going to let her go. So $3,300 bid. It's going to sell at $3,400.
Well, Max, as you know, we have buyers and sellers coming in from all parts of the country, and Kevin's actually wrangled a few right now up on the concourse. Let's go to him and see what he's got for us. Kevin?
We've got another buyer here, Chase Gamble. So what did you buy today, Chase?
Bought a 1963 Farmall Cub.
So you were saying to me that you do a little bit of work on these tractors. What kind of stuff do you like to do to them?
Yeah, me, my grandfather, and my great uncle, we buy, restore, and resell the antique Farmall tractors. We mainly do the offset tractors for cultivating and planting, and we specialize in those types: the Cub, the Super A, 100, 130, and 140.
So the one that you've got today, that'll fit right into your collection, huh?
Oh, exactly. We've got about, right now, I'd say we have about 20 Cubs, and that'd be around number 21. So this one won't require a lot of work. So this is a nice tractor to, it's ready to go.
Looking around at the collections that you see here today, what would you say the quality of the tractors is like?
I would say that the quality of the tractors they're selling here today, I would rate the whole lot an 8 out of 10, because most of these tractors have been restored, and really the word restore, that can be taken with a grain of salt. Someone's view of that is different across the board, and every tractor I've seen here has been in really top mechanical condition and really nice cosmetic condition. So.
Great, thanks very much. We really appreciate you sharing, and congratulations on your winning bid.
Thank you.
All right, back to you.
Going to bring in S14, a beautiful John Deere 630 here. I mean, just nice paint, newer tires, 3-point on the back with the third link. No fenders, but selling at no reserve. So the guy says, I've got faith in my tractor and the quality of it, and I'm just going to let her go.
Certainly piquing the interest of the bidders, both on the phone and here in the arena.
Of course, a 630 John Deere, that's just a real nice looking tractor. You look at the styling on these and you can tell there was some thought process. The operator comfort was better. They tilted that wheel and put all the gauges right in the dash, so when you look straight down, you're looking straight down on them. Otherwise, they were below the steering wheel and they weren't slanted. You had to kind of sit back a little bit to see them. So this one also has a silencer muffler on it, 1959 being second to the last year of production. So
I thought it came through the door a little quieter than the others.
Yep.
Seems to be running very, very well.
And $5,600. This is gonna roll. We're gonna roll out the door at $5,500. Gonna bring in a nice looking little 320 with slant steer. Got the cultivators all mounted on it. This is lot S15. And this is another one selling at no reserve, Mike. So. And of course the 320s, that was the smallest of them. What it was kind of a tractor, didn't quite have all the options on it. It was kind of a price point tractor, mainly for the smaller vegetable farmer and a lot of the townships who liked using these tractors because they were kind of a no frills. You could put someone on it, had a sickle mower, you could go out and mow roadside ditches. Or for the vegetable farmers, these little one-row cultivators, I mean, it was just a handy little tractor to have around. Put a 3-point hitch plow on the back. You could do all your tillage work with it. So. At 11,250, I think we've got one of our next high sellers right here. So. So 11,250, that one's going to sell, and that's going to roll out and bring in lot S16. Is a 1972 John Deere 4020. And when you talk about iconic John Deere tractors, the 4020 was it, and of course 1972s always bring good money at these auctions. This one here looks like it just come right out of the field. Guy probably used it this spring for some field work and said, you know what, it's time for me to move on from this tractor, move on to something else. So got 3-point fenders, side console, got the fender mounted radio. So if you want to listen to radio station, get your farm report while you're out there getting your field work done. Got the front weights on it. The hood doesn't look like it's got any damage in the front nose. This is how a lot of guys like finding them like this, where it'd be a very easy restoration or keep it and run it just the way it is. So.
Well, it's certainly generating a lot of interest here, just about to hit north of $11,000 and still going.
Yeah, and believed to only have 7,148 hours on it, so really kind of a low hour 4020. A lot of these things just got used to death. They'll have 10, 20,000 hours on them.
It looks like they got about a 3-way bid. Still going, still have the interest. I believe they've got some people here in the arena and some people on the phone interested in that one, as it's still climbing upwards toward $13,000.
And that's going to sell at $12,750.
And as that last tractor just rolls on by, Max, we're going to take a quick break, but don't you go anywhere. We'll be back with more of Mecum's Gone Farmin Nashville right after this. Well, thank you for joining us once again. I'm Mike Holland along with Max Wilson, and this is Mecum's Gone Farmin here in Nashville. Let's get back to some of the action.
It's going to bring in S17, a 1955 John Deere 60 standard high seat. There were two different variations on the 60 standards. They had the low seat that was more like an AR or an AO, and then when they came out with the 70 standard, they had moved the seat up, and they figured, well, we can do this with the 62. And or the 60 also. This one also has 3-point on the back. Beautiful restoration. This is another one that really caught my eye when I first walked into the arena.
And is one of the featured tractors here at Mecum's Gone Farmin Auction in Nashville. This is certainly one of the eye-catching tractors that's generated a lot of interest.
Yeah, we don't see many of the 60 standards too often at the auctions. They usually sell pretty well, but the high seat I think was, it's just a little more of an iconic. Got those big fenders. It sits up a little higher, and a lot of people really like it. So
a lot of these tractors are part of a collection from some of these sellers that might bring in 1, 2, or up to 5 or 6, and see what they're going to bring. I know I talked to a gentleman this morning that brought in 2 and said if they do well at this auction, he has 4 more waiting in the wings. So we'll see what happens. And making its way in is a lot S19, 1958 Farmall 450.
yeah, this one here selling at no reserve, Mike. Power steering PTO with a good TA, which when I say good TA, they've got a lever on the side of them. They call it a torque amplifier. And what it did was it kind of split your gears, slowed you down a little bit so that full engine power was going to your PTO. If you're running a chopper or baler or whatever, if you had a big windrow you were going into, you could just pull that lever rather than stop and shift gears. So it kind of made that 5-speed a 10-speed is pretty much what it did. So, and there were a lot of people use those TAs as brakes, and that's what tore a lot of them out. Was you'd be going down the road and you want to slow down to make a corner, they just pull that lever. Well, it's like a clutching system in there, and that sudden shift at a high speed would cause problems with the clutches, and then you got to split the tractor and put them in. So this one here, you're not going to have to split this tractor. It's pretty much run it the way it is. So. And once again, another beautiful restoration on this tractor. So.
Well, and it rolls out at $5,700. Somebody got a fantastic deal on that one. There's also the opportunity to have some of the grandkids driving in the tractors as well. They get a thrill. This is certainly a different style. Tell me about this one here, Max.
Yeah, this one here in 1953 GW, which meant G with a wide front. And this guy, when he was restoring them, this is from the Jim and Beverly Vaden collection, I believe, if I've got the name right. But they brought us a complete set of John Deere Gs, and this one here, he went through and put an extra set of wheels and tires on it, so it was dualed up. And a lot of tractors, these were used. Where they were used, it might be a little wet, so you start putting extra tires on for flotation. Now, this collection that we're going to sell here, this one here selling at no reserve. I think he's got a reserve on 1 or 2, but he brought them to sell. He's got one of every variation of the John Deere Model Gs, and this is one of the big things that I was interested in seeing how they go. And looking at the price right now, the quality of restoration speaking for itself. So
certainly the high price of the day so far, just already north of $17,000.
Yeah, this one here's serial number 63904, Expo certified, has the long axles, 104-inch wide, and that's how he can put those duals on there like that. 2-cylinder production records. It's a 5-year-old restoration. It was shipped to Regina, Saskatchewan, Canada originally. So
rolls out at $17,000, the high price of the day so far. Well, Max, that's all we have time for today's show, but it has been quite a ride so far.
Yeah, we've seen some highs and some lows.
Folks, there's plenty more auction to come. Make sure you tune in next week right here on RFD-TV, Rural America's most important network. And until then, I'm Mike Holland, and this is Max Wilson, and we'll see you next time.